is a Centurion game on Fjords with Prime Law and Hardest. Hardest is in his 12T for the Tier 6 event to unlock it or to get the IS-6. He already has an IS-6, he's just doing it for the 11,000 gold or whatever it is. So I decide I'm going to head north. Hardest is going to scout up in the North Pass there. I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to set up. At first I was thinking of just holding the corner at A7-ish, or B7 rather, but it turns out the enemy team ceded that whole area of the map to us, so I just kept pushing through and took a hold down position in A9 with our Pershing. So you can see Hardest has been able to push all the way up there without being spotted and without spotting any enemies, so he moves into a passive scouting position. Myself and the Pershing just push straight through. I stop and hesitate for a moment. I just want to see if the Pershing gets jumped on first. When he gets up there safely, I decide I may as well move up as well. So Hardest manages to spot the AMX 5100, which also spots him and begins aiming in his direction at the rock or whatever it was he was taking cover behind. I queue up a Hesh shell for my next shot because science, and the Pershing pushes around. Pershing decides not to take the shot, so I do. The IS-3 is there as well. So that was an APCR shell right through his turret. The next one is Hesh. And this is why I carry so many Hesh shells, even if I don't always use them. 566 damage, and that critted his loader and his driver, I think, or something like that. 2 of his crew members. He really backed off when he saw that. So Hardest cleans him up. I get a shot into the IS-3, and the IS-6 charges down because he really wants to kill Hardest's light tank. I can't let that happen, so I move in and try and put myself between the IS-6 and Hardest so that he shoots me instead. Takes a big hit from the Waffenträger, and then Hardest finishes him off. Now it's the IS-3 and T-29 that need working over. Pershing is chicken shit and won't do anything himself, so I'm going to have to move up and take a shot at these guys. I was going to go for a Cupola shot there, but the Waffenträger moved into the way, so I push out around him and managed to get a shot into the IS-3's pipe. Pershing finally drives out and gets himself tracked. I scrubbed my shot, I think that hit the rock or something. And then I go for a Cupola shot. Bounces. I think I hit his roof and it just skipped off. Our Waffenträger manages to put a shell into our Pershing, although he certainly deserves it after the way he's been playing so far. I finish off the IS-3, and then the T-29 is next. Gets double teamed by the Waffenträger and Hardest. So the enemy team think they've won this. GG, they say. Well, it's not over yet. Primal is holding our base with his Object 704, and the bulk of the enemy team is tied up in the middle of the map fighting a couple of our straggling tanks there. So I move towards the enemy base. I intend on cleaning up the Sture Emil and then supporting the Pershing in their base, trying to bait them back our way, away from our own cap. So I have a Hesh shell loaded for the Sture Emil, which has very, very poor armor. Fairly good effect on him. Pershing sits in cap. I move across to guard from the other side, down on Italy, as Hardest called it. So from this peninsula I'm trying to find a position where I can pop the E-75s and IS-8s if they come back to try and reset. Oh sorry, 2801 pops up first, so I get a quick shot into him. One of the E-75 spots Hardest flanking them and manages to destroy him. One shot of IS-8, gets one shot. Second IS-8 has a bit more health and is about to kill our Pershing. Take a quick shot into his side. Load a Hesh shell here because I was curious. This could have actually ended very poorly for me. I'm glad it didn't. It does full damage. Not a very high roll, but full damage nonetheless. Now the E-75 decides he's going to get brave. I bounce a shot off probably his upper front plate, although it was aimed at his lower. And he begins to push me. So I want to try and get another shot into him, but it doesn't happen. Instead, I get tracked by the IS-8. So I'm pretty worried here. I'm confused and annoyed as to why our artillery isn't supporting me. It's going to go for the cupola shot until I realised he was stupid enough to show his belly. I light him on fire. He has to stop to use the fire extinguisher. Apparently pressing more than one key at a time is hard. I scrubbed my shot there and it cost me my tank. Now for a moment here I thought the game was going to be a loss because our arty hadn't fired. But it turns out he was holding his shot so he could get Bombardier. I certainly don't approve of throwing teammates under the bus so you can get a Bombardier medal, but thankfully he did actually hit both of them and kill both of them, so it was still a win. If he'd fucked that up and we'd end up losing, I would be pretty mad. So I got some decent headshots in this game. I don't often use it. Usually when I do, it's just against something I know I can pen, like particularly that AMX-50 and the Sture Emil. I know that unless I badly fuck up my aim, I'm not going to get a failed Hesh pen through them. So it is worth using at times. The reason I carry so much of it is just because the Centurion has such a huge ammo capacity. You know, why not? So not at the point where I can make constant use of it like some people do, but I don't know, I would like to incorporate it more into some of my Centurion play.